Free State Podcast, take one, episode 2.
Welcome back. What I was saying to you, and I put up my social media, that 1% of podcasts get past 21 episodes.
Yeah,
So we're getting there.
we're getting there. We're
But
10% the way, nearly.
But there was something else. There was another stat of how many get past 1, and it was quite low.
It was like, I think it was like 9%, or like 10% don't even get past 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
and then it just obviously decreases.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But you can see, because I was saying to you, like, you can see why, because like sometimes maybe you're just like expecting like thousands and
Yeah.
thousands of downloads.
you think this game is going to be easy.
Yeah, so you can see why you'd be, I don't know, a little bit disappointed in not going to your second one. But anyway, here we are in our second one. And
Part two.
how are you doing today?
Yeah, like it's warmer outside. I was saying this before when it came in. It was like you notice like how much of a change in your mood when there's a bit more brightness in the evenings and you're getting up in the morning and you can actually see the sun rising rather than it be pitch black when you wake up and pitch black when you're going home.
So nice.
And like fair, like we're like lucky we get to be kind of working outside, working like with people, but you have people like who are working like in an office all day and they're getting up at 6, going to work, it's pitch black, and then by the time they leave the office it's pitch black, so they haven't seen any daylight whatsoever, and they've just been inside like the artificial lights all day. You can see actually how it would affect your mood. Like
100%.
so many people, like the last few weeks, the amount of rain, this, that, and the other, be like, oh, geez, like I'm struggling getting through this, but like even like today, it's class. I feel great.
I think our just expectations have been, lowered so much because of how crap the weather has been. So now we're like, any bit of blue sky.
You think Irish people would be used to this by now? Just be like, January, February.
There we are talking about the weather.
Yeah, I know, typical Irish people. How are you doing? More to the point.
Yeah, I'm great.
Yeah,
Life is good.
working hard.
Working very hard at the moment, very motivated. Just, we always put in the question box what people are interested in, even though we're going to be focusing this episode on eating disorders and disordered eating. Still get lots of questions about rugby.
I know.
So
It's like there's always like there's a few percent. It's like absolutely not related to the question at all. People are just obviously very interested, so thank you. But there's always
how was it watching the game on Saturday?
it was great watching it. Like I absolutely love seeing the lads dish England up. Always like one of the best games of the year. But then like after the game, I'm just like, oh, I wish I was there. Oh, like this is great, but it's like, yeah, you always wish you were there, and that always pushes me to be like, I need to get back. I need to get like in training mode now that I'm in rehab recovery mode, but like making sure I'm in the best kind of form, the best shape I can be in now, so that I can hit the ground running when I come back. And that just spurs you on. But like, yeah, when you're watching it, you're just like, oh, this is great. Oh, I wish I was there. But it was class. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be hard, like.
Yeah, because we went down to Kilkenny for the weekend, just like me and Elaine, for her like early birthday present. She's joining us on the 30th floor. But
Today?
no, on Friday. But yeah, it was nice to be able to like watch it, see them do so well. Then I had like people coming into like, we were like this little part of the like in the like clubhouse down there in the hotel, and like kind of blocked off from the main clubhouse, and like you had people coming in the doors like, oh, I'd say you wish you were there now, don't you? I was like, no.
Leave you alone.
That was funny though.
Just trying to enjoy your rare dates with Elaine.
I know. We didn't have Matt either.
And would you? Was there ever like being like you could go over to the game? Like, would you have wanted to? Is that ever a thing where players would?
Yeah, you'd be doing it off your own back. Like you'd be doing it like you have to obviously organise your own travel and stuff.
Okay, you'd be like, I really want to go to this game.
Yeah. But like I've heard people saying that like Twickenham's a bit of a bitch to get to.
Yeah.
Like, like I'm so like in a bubble where everything's just done for me. It's like I was saying to you about like when I went to the Italy game.
Yeah.
Like my dad and Elaine had to tell me how to get into the stadium. Like I was like, I'm used to going in on a bus and police escort and stuff like this, and then yeah, they had to tell me, oh no, you can't go that way. No, you can't just go up to the stewards and say, we need to get in. You have to show your tickets and stuff. But yeah.
That's hilarious. Okay, so it's Eating Disorder Awareness Week, and I was reading something. Obviously, there's loads of stuff on social media, bringing awareness to eating disorders, which is fantastic because they are a hugely misunderstood disease, mental health disorder. But also, I was reading other like contrasting posts, being like, sometimes it can be really difficult for people with eating disorders during the awareness week because they might be going through recovery, and a lot of the posts on social media can be unhelpful and share like before and after photos. They might talk a lot about weight or BMI, and I thought that was just an interesting perspective. So we're just gonna chat a little bit about, because obviously you've been very, some people would say very brave. I don't even really like that word. I think you've been, because then it kind of insinuates that someone who maybe hasn't been open about there isn't brave, which obviously isn't the case. But you've been very open about your eating disorder, especially most recently in your book.
Yeah.
So I wanted to chat to you a little bit about your experiences, and I think it's just amazing that you are so open about it, because obviously given the fact you're such a big public figure, you get to impact lots and lots of lives. So
I think that's like one of the biggest things, like on that bit where you're in obviously like kind of public spotlight, like it's using my platform for something beneficial other than for myself. It's like if I can impact hopefully other people in a positive way by if something like, it sounds simple by just be like, oh, share your story. It's obviously very difficult for other people, like people have been internalizing a lot of things, but like it's very, like I found it very freeing and like very helpful for myself to be able to share this, not just with like my close family and friends, be able to share it with a wider audience, because it's going to have an impact on so many more people who are unfortunately going through the same thing. But yeah, that's like how I look at it. And how I suppose the power of storytelling and the power of kind of sharing your own insights, what you learned, and hopefully that has a positive impact on other people.
Definitely does.
Yeah.
And people know you and trust you, so that really adds to it. Your personal brand is very trusted.
Hopefully.
So I just want to read out a couple of facts about eating disorders before we get on. So eating disorders have the second highest mortality rate of any mental illness. I feel like these facts are just important because I do believe they're very misunderstood, eating disorders. Someone dies roughly every 52 minutes as a result of an eating disorder. Around 70 million people internationally live with eating disorders. Eating disorders are not just about food, which I think is often what people assume. They're complex mental health conditions. They often are associated with control, identity, perfectionism, coping, and you cannot. This is a really important one. I'm going to bring this up I think later, but you cannot tell if someone has an eating disorder just by looking at them. And if you are someone who is living with an eating disorder and you feel like you need help, we're going to leave lots of resources for you to go to in the show notes somewhere. I don't even know where the show notes go, but I'll figure that out. And also,
we'll show
if you're just looking for something right now, you need help right now, or you know someone who needs help, I would recommend you going to BodyWise. Like, I don't want to give you 10 different options because, you know, paradox of choice, you know, you might be less likely to make any action. So just go to BodyWise and you can seek help there. Anything you want to add before we continue on?
No, hit nail on the head.
Okay. God, all the pressure's on me here.
You're the professional.
So, when did you first realize that your relationship with food wasn't normal?
Probably like
Healthy.
it's tough to put like an accurate kind of like pin in it, like an accurate date on it, because I was so in the kind of the realm of like, I'm doing the right thing here for myself. I'm doing like what I want to do, and it's not till like you're a year or a couple of months, a year like down the road where you're like, you kind of have that realization where you're like, okay, this is like, maybe it is an issue, rather than like in my head, like I said, I was doing probably the right thing or the right coping mechanism as a result of probably like trauma of losing my mum when I was 12. Like, that's probably the thing that kickstarted it, and probably it was a lot of things that like were in my earlier life. Like, I was always a big kid and probably like a bit insecure, and that was probably like the catalyst maybe that changed everything, that kind of made me go down that route, where I had kind of that started my relationship with an eating disorder. But like, it wasn't like, it's hard to put like an actual pin in
Of course.
when it happened. It's more just like probably like when I was 14 or 15, when I was like realized I did, because it was, I suppose, the people around me were like, my family were the biggest ones who were just like the most concerned. And like in the early days, you're just like, you're like, oh, I know best. I'm 12, 13-year-old. They always think they know best. But yeah, it wasn't until when it had gotten bad when I was kind of like, okay, this is a bit of an issue here. But yeah, it like definitely started, like looking back now, I can say accurately, probably like it was kind of in first year in school, start of first year when I came into first year, day after my mum's funeral, like started first year, didn't like, new environment, like so much different things going on, like and so many things like out of my control, I suppose. And I was probably just like, okay, this is the one thing I can control. I can control what I eat, what I don't eat. And that was, I suppose, the biggest thing that I thought I could have effect on myself, was that. And that's obviously like not, it was obviously detrimental to my mental health, my physical health at the time, but it was the one thing I felt I had control over, because like I was the only one in charge of that thing. Like, I was, example, like my dad would make me lunch for school in first year, and obviously he wasn't there to monitor it. No one was there to make sure I ate it, and I remember just like throwing it in the bin in school. So I'd go like the whole day without eating, which was just like, looking back now, like it's like so other than the person I am now, because I sought help and like wanted to do it for people around me, but at the time it was just like it was a control thing, I suppose. Yeah.
Actually, getting a bit emotional there, listen, because I just feel so bad for Andrew, like, 13-year-old Andrew going into school, just lost your mum, day after her funeral, like, as you said, all these new people, new environments, I just...
Yeah, like, it was basically just like, that comes back to that thing where it's just like, I'd say no one knew around me, because obviously you're in school with we're 13. No one, like, I didn't know how to articulate what was going on, or like, I wouldn't expect other people when I was in first year to be like, oh, like, how are you doing? Are you okay?
Because I remember my mum, the first time, I think I've said this to you.
Yeah.
The first time I remember, like, a few people in interviews have asked me, you know, when do you first remember meeting Andrew?
Yeah.
What are your first memories of Andrew? But the first memory is, I know exactly where I was in my house. My mum was like, oh, there's, you know, a kid, you're going to be in school with him, Andrew Porter, he's just lost his mum. Like, make sure you look out for him.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't think I did, like, because you're only, like, 12.
Yeah.
Like, you know? Yeah, that's my first memory of you. And then I remember you being so brave on the hockey pitch in goals.
Yeah. I played hockey as well as rugby in my earlier years.
But you were an amazing goalkeeper because you were like you just be throwing yourself around the place.
I used to just love like sliding people. I just
and then we did paintballing for my birthday party.
Yeah.
You'd be the exact same thing. It'd be like everyone got you on their team because you'd be just flying around.
I'd just be getting like, I wouldn't be like, I'd just be getting hit the whole time. It wouldn't be like anything like tactical about it. It would be like just stupid.
But yeah, it's interesting there you brought up like control, and that would obviously be a really, really common thing for people with eating disorder, where it comes back a lot to control. And you wanting to control your food because that is something that is in your control.
Yeah. I suppose it's like when you feel everything around you, I suppose, is very chaotic and very like obviously there's so much things outside of your control in that sense. Like there's like the whole thing with my mum, like my family, like being in a new environment, like being in school, being just like somewhere I just didn't want to be at the time. And yeah, I suppose it was like there's so much things out of my control that was like, okay, I'm taking back control of this thing. And yeah, I think that was like the one thing that I was just like, okay, that's why I was so in my own head that I was like, oh, I'm doing the right thing here by like, oh, I'm losing weight, like I'm doing, like I'm fitting in this way, I suppose. And yeah, I think that was the one thing, and like that's why it's so tough as a young man, I suppose, because you're so set in your ways, I suppose, and thinking you're doing the right thing, and you're not. I suppose you're not external. You're not talking to anyone about it. You're just like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm setting my ways about it. I'm not going to ask anyone about their opinion because I'm right. I'm right, and I don't want to be sharing this with other people. Yeah.
And so I remember there was one time, for some reason I have fourth year in my head, but I must be wrong here. But I remember you came. It was summer, like, and it was first day back.
Yeah.
And like I didn't recognize you. Do you know?
Yeah.
Would that have been fourth?
That would have been second year.
Was it?
Yeah. First, I remember that was like probably the worst of it.
Like that must have been again just like so difficult for you.
Yeah.
Do you know? Because you definitely knew what everyone was thinking. We're all such, you know. We're all insecure, egotistical young males. Like, you know, probably very few people said anything to you.
Yeah.
But maybe we're like talking about it. You know.
Yeah.
Do you remember how that felt, or?
I never thought of anyone speaking about it because I was so in my own world about it.
Yeah.
I was so locked into what I was doing, and it was like I remember seeing pictures of, like, there's a picture in my book where that was like the summer of first year, after first year going into second year. And that was probably like the I suppose the lowest kind of point of it, because at the time I was like, for like over summer I'd just be going down the country to work on the farm, and with all my cousins and my uncles and everything, because my dad was working, he didn't want me like hanging around the house getting up to no good, like as you do. But I suppose that was another thing where, like, a lot of my other family probably didn't know what to say as well. Like, they were like, it was so, like, back then, like, that was only, what, 15, no, more than 15 years ago. But yeah, give or take.
Can't do maths right now.
No, I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
15,
it was 15,
yeah,
16
15 years ago. And like, back then, like, it's come so much in 15 years, like, about awareness and everything. But like, back then, like, it was just like, oh, he's just not eating. He must be down about something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like a lot of people don't know how to maybe articulate it in a, maybe, like, I wouldn't say in a kind way, but like, even just kind of like, they don't want to pry, I suppose, and like, maybe they feel like they're not equipped to deal with it. But I suppose that was kind of like another big thing, because I was away from everyone. I was nearly in isolation, because I took myself out of, I suppose, social situations, because I was just so inward. I was so inward, and that was probably the biggest thing when I came back after first year, after the summer into second year, that people were like, oh Jesus, like, yeah. And I think I remember like a few of our friends like saying that to me now, a few years down the line. Just like, yeah, like, we all knew something was going, but we didn't know what to say. We didn't know what to do, just because like, you're like, I wasn't equipped to be able to deal with it myself. Like, how could I expect other people like to be able to even ask like, how you doing? Like, because I suppose they don't want to. It's that thing where they don't want to pry, and they don't want to feel like it's not their. I suppose people feel like it's not their business to ask.
Yeah, there's a really nice. I shared to my. This is obviously not going to be released till next week, but I shared to my story yesterday from Beat, Instagram page called Beat ED Support, I think. Beat It Support, I think that's what it's called. Did you see that thing I shared now?
Yeah.
It's like a 2-minute clip. It's called like The Appointment. But anyway, it's a really nice clip of like showing friends supporting someone who's, you know, living with an eating disorder. Well worth a watch for anyone listening. But do you remember like when you first got support and help, like professional support and help, and what that was like and what that looked like?
Yeah, like, so I had like a lot of, so in that summer, like, my dad come down and like to obviously see me and everything, like, during the, like, on the weekends when he like didn't have work, but like, I'd also go up for like counselling sessions up in Dublin.
Okay.
And it was like, it's one of those things as well at the time, like, you don't want to be, at the time, it's nearly like you're ashamed to go to counselling. And I said this in the book, that like, I would feel really like it took a while to break down the walls of like talking to someone else about all this, because I even like again back then, like, there wasn't a lot for mental health in, like, looking now, like, and going to a counsellor, like, it's so much more normalized now, I suppose, to go and speak to someone, even if you're not going through anything. Like, a lot of people use that resource just to be a better person, just to find out more about themselves. But at the time, I was just like, oh God, like, it's nearly like I felt ashamed going to it, and I was like, it got to a really good point where I was like, okay, I feel comfortable talking to this guy. And then, like, it was after every session, I'd see my dad like giving him the check, and I'd feel like, oh, I feel like shit, because now my dad is paying for this, for something I'm doing. So then it was kind of like, it was like that kind of vicious cycle where I'd be like, okay, this is going really good. Like, I'm back, like, one step forward, two steps back nearly. Because, like, again, it was about control. It was about like, okay, I can't control that. I go back to controlling what I can do, and that's by not eating and starving myself, more or less. And
did that, So like, how long were you going to this counsellor for? And do you remember?
I don't remember. Like I'd say probably 2 months. I'd say it was like the whole time over summer, like in what is it, 2 months kind of holidays. Yeah, I'd say the whole time over then, and then I probably felt like I was in a good enough spot where I was kind of like I'd feel like I'd make progress, and then I suppose that whole kind of that inner critic in me was just like, okay, no, I need to go back to doing what I was doing because life is getting too like don't like what's going on. I'm just going to come back to that control bit. And yeah, like that was like I remember second year, like start of second year, because I still loved rugby and being like part of the group and everything. I remember like being in say like start of second year when I was still like going through like quite a good bit like of the, like eating disorder, and like I remember I hadn't eaten anything all day and going out like at 4 o'clock after school to train, and just like feeling so just lightheaded, like and just like near like outer body kind of experience that you're just kind of like, oh Jesus, this is normal to feel, isn't it? That's like I'd be like like
What position were you playing then?
I think it was back row then, because I was prop in first year and then obviously I lost all the weight, so they were like, oh, go to back row or something.
Do you remember how you felt about that?
I remember I loved it because I just loved playing, and like I suppose I always like, no matter where I was on the pitch, as long as I was on the pitch,
Yeah.
as long as I was playing, that was like my one kind of thing. I'd wait for the whole day to get to that point.
You'd love going out in the road.
Loved going out.
Okay. And were there times where you were like, just like, were you ever like, I really want to like fuel my performance on the pitch here, like, or did that ever come into your mind? Or?
That never came into my mind at all. Like it was, like, because I never had the tools. I never had the, I suppose, the framework or the information until our like PE teacher, David Jones. He gave me, I think he obviously saw what was going on and he like wanted to give me a hand. Like when he reached out, and that was a big thing. That's like a big, like I remember that like him sitting me down. I remember I was up in the like school nurses like office, because like I remember I'd be up there the whole time because I was just like, like probably just like I had no energy in school, so I was just like, I'm just gonna go up and chill here and hopefully they'll send me home. I remember he came up one day, and he came up with this like leaflet, the document, and it was basically like the like IRFU kind of nutritional kind of framework for like schools, rugby players, and it was kind of like, oh, like what you need to be eating to like fuel yourself if you want to, I suppose, like if you want to make it to like representative rugby. And I remember that so well because it was just like, I remember even at the top it was like it said like eat to compete, and I was just like, oh, this is class, because I always wanted to be, always had the dream of becoming a professional rugby player, and then I suppose seeing that I was like, okay, that's what I need to do. And it was that, along with a lot of kind of, I was getting very aware of what that was doing to the people around me. I suppose I could see actually finally probably the worry and the concern from my family, because for so long I was so much doing my own thing. I was so locked into what I was doing, and yeah, like I was like, it was a multitude of factors, but I remember that's something that sticks out for me like very well. And yeah, like I think he was always like the whole way through school, like it was like, I'd say like a huge influence on kind of where I am now, because like he was very like, showed me the gym for the first time, showed me kind of gave me that outlet, and he knew I needed that outlet. So like he showed me that, and then like nutrition basics. So yeah, like I think that was like a big kind of turning point in my mind anyway. Yeah.
And do you remember, like, so at that point were you not going to this counsellor anymore?
No, I think I was like, it was more like a time thing. I probably was like in my mind. I probably like it probably like went into a bit of second year, and then it was kind of like a point of okay, like we'll see how you go, take what we've spoke about and kind of just try to implement it.
Because you're obviously still really, really sick at that time.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, but I never saw it as like, I never saw it as a sickness.
Yeah.
I like and like I obviously know now that it obviously was, but yeah, like it was just. I'd say there's a load of stuff that I've like blocked off,
Of course.
like blocked off in my mind. But at the time, I remember we went to Biarritz. Like we went on like a rugby tour. I think that might have been just after first year. Sorry, yeah, for just after first year into summer, we went on like a rugby trip, like the first year rugby team. And I remember like we doing like loads of activities. We were playing rugby, like having the crack and everything. Like you could go out in the lake on a boat and stuff. And I remember I fell asleep on the boat. I fell asleep on it because I just had no energy. I remember even like one of the lads, it was like only a few months ago, saying that, oh, like I remember when you were in Biarritz, like you'd only eat the skin of an apple,
I know. Yeah.
and that'd be it. That'd literally be it. And yeah, it's mad. Like it's looking back now and be like, how did I get through the day on that, like without just being bedbound the whole time? Because like playing rugby, you're so active.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone asked on Instagram when they were diagnosed with an eating disorder, felt very freeing and
Yeah.
liberating. Was there a moment when, like, you know, someone did someone say that to you? Do you remember that? Was it freeing? Was it liberating? Any thoughts?
It wasn't like. See, I never actually remember anyone putting a label on it. I never remember anyone go like, okay, you have anorexia, you have like bulimia or whatever. I never got labeled with anything, but like I think it was more just myself becoming more aware with it, and like it was after that really kind of like dark point and that low point that I was kind of like, okay, this needs to change. I need to change my habits and my relationship with food to, I suppose, help myself, help my family, become a rugby player. I suppose it was that kind of like turning point where I was like, okay, this isn't serving me. This isn't like helpful or healthy for me, or for those around me. And I thought so that was like, it was a tough thing to come to terms with, but it was kind of freeing at the same time, because I was like accepting that I wasn't right the whole time. I wasn't doing something that was for my benefit. And then I was just like, I was doing everything I could to change that and to I suppose rectify it, really. Yeah. Which is like a lot of it, like I feel like I figured out by myself a bit.
Just gonna say.
But I did have a lot of help and a lot of support.
I think you did. I think okay, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, there oftentimes, you know, females with eating disorders, like it's much more, it's seen more as a illness for females, when we know that's actually not the case.
Yeah.
Like, so it was a long time ago. You're a young male, There was so much other shit that had gone on
Yeah.
in your life. So it was a complete series of unfortunate events
Yeah.
and timing and circumstances. But I think, now, I think you're a unique situation,
Yeah.
like, and you talked about this in your book, like, when you talked about the story of you and going into the shed and,
Yeah.
like, that was, like, so things could have easily gone the other way.
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
So, I suppose, you have a unique story and situation where things have, worked out really well, but could have easily not. And, I suppose what I'm trying to say here is that you didn't get, it's your story, right? But like, maybe there could have been more support there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there could have, just given the time and circumstances and everything I've just said. But like, for someone now, you'd hope that there's much more support.
Yeah.
And as we said, we're going to list places for people to go. I hope I got that.
Yeah, no,
across.
100%. But like, at the same time, you also have to be willing. Like, there's a lot, like, there's only so much other people can do for you, but you have to be the one that wants to make the most of that support and lean on that support. And I suppose not see it as like, okay, now I'm bringing this person into it, now I'm like involving this person, or now they're part of my problem. I suppose, you have to, it comes down to you at the end of the day. And like, because there was so much support for me there, everyone was trying to help me the whole time, but like I said, I was so set in my ways about like doing my own thing, thinking what I was doing was right. That it was just like they could only help me so much. But I had to do the work at the end of the day. And that's what I saw it as. I saw it as like at that kind of turning point. I was like, okay, this is on me to change this person for the better, because what I have been doing, like, now I realize it's obviously it was like at that turning point. I was like, now I realize what I had been doing was like detrimental. You know what I mean?
Something does change at that whenever David gave you the leaf.
Yeah.
Okay, and I've never talked about this, right? But how is your relationship with food now? How's your relationship with your body now?
I say, like, because obviously I have to eat for my job, so like at that point, like at that turning point, I suppose I was very hyper focused on everything I was eating. I was very like I suppose I was very conscious of like what I was eating. And it took me a while to like nearly like drip feed that in, to, I suppose, allow myself to be like, okay, like I can eat this, and it's going to be good for me. But like now it's like I'm eating for performance. I'm eating to feel good. I'm eating for like health. I'm eating for like so many reasons that I'm now aware of, because I went away and did all my kind of like research on it. Like I was very like, I went down so many rabbit holes of like, okay, what can I eat to be the best rugby player? What can I eat to be the next Cian Healy? Like, and that was really like nice, because I was like, okay, now I can eat everything. I can just do the exact opposite of what I was doing, and I'm gonna actually get a reward at the end of it. But like now, it's very much like I suppose I have a very like healthy relationship with food, like, because I track everything. I track everything I eat, but that's purely from a performance basis. Like, not everyone has to go and track everything they eat. I purely do it from a performance standpoint, because I need to know how much protein, carbs, and fats I'm eating a day, how much calories I'm eating. So yeah, like I suppose I'm very focused on it, but because it's my job. But like I remember, like in 5th and 6th year, I was just I'd come in with Tupperwares full of food. Like there would be like I'd be in 9 in the morning in like registration eating like chicken and rice and broccoli and stinking up registration. Like no one wanted to sit beside me because it was just the smell of it at 9 in the morning. But yeah, like I suppose I have a very good relationship with it, but like that's didn't just fucking go like that.
Yeah. And what do you feel like? At some point, you're going to stop playing rugby, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully for as long as I can.
How do you feel like your relationship with food might be then? I imagine it might be difficult, or maybe you think it'd be fine. You know, because then performance on the pitch is less of a
demand.
Yeah, but you won't need to perform on the pitch. So then, you know, if a lot of your food and relationship with food now is about performing on the pitch, I wonder, you know, have you even thought about that? Is what basically what I'm asking.
Like
maybe you haven't.
I haven't thought about it, but like I've always had like a really good grasp. Well, in recent years, on knowing what I'm eating and knowing, I suppose the right foods to eat. Like there's no right and wrong foods I suppose to eat in that sense, but like I suppose the foods that are going to benefit me the most. And like I've always kind of sat down with like nutritionists on whatever team I'm on, of Ireland or Leinster, and like I always have like a very good kind of scope and knowledge on it, because I've like in my previous years I've always got away and done my research on it to know that I'm eating the most optimal food and stuff like that. But no, I suppose like it'd be a easy transition because I'm very like health focused now. I'm very like I suppose I'm very kind of like outcome based. Like I need to eat this to get that result, and I suppose I'm very. I wouldn't say I'm not fixated on it. I suppose I like that. I suppose it comes back to there is probably a bit of control as well in it. I like being in control of that part. Like I love cooking. I love food in general. Like, but I love knowing what I'm eating is benefiting me in that sense. So there probably is like a bit of sense of that still, like bit of control, a small bit there, but I know what I'm doing is like it's beneficial. I'm like I want to be as healthy as I can, and eating, I suppose it's tough to say now what I'm going to be like in like 10 years.
Asking some tough questions.
Yeah. What do you think your relationship food has been?
Deflecting.
I'm not deflecting. I'm asking. I'm responding.
Just firstly, thank you for being so open and honest about how like everything there, but also how like there probably is, in your words, like some control there. Because you still have to. It's so nice for you to be able to control your food to improve your performance. So it's just an interesting thought, I suppose. What was the question to me?
Like, how do you feel like your relationship with food has it always been the same, or has like?
No. So like some of my strongest, and I was actually meant to ask you this. Some of my strongest memories as a child are like what people said to me about my weight.
Yeah.
So like me, maybe living in a larger body when I was a kid, being told I need to lose weight as a 13-year-old, being told I need to lose weight to perform better on the hockey pitch by the hockey coach. Being told, I remember, someone commenting on my love, like that I had love handles. I remember I had a dietitian when I was 13, 14 for my weight, maybe even a bit younger. It's like that's, that can be a bit like traumatic, and like the fact I even clearly remember, and I like people joke with me that I don't remember my childhood, but like those things I remember. So that kind of led into like I also, maybe it was 15, 16, discovered the gym. My weight reduced a lot. I got quite aesthetic driven.
Yeah.
Wanted to look a certain way. I was training very hard to to make that happen. But I was never, I would say, even up until, and it's still some of this with me for sure, but like, you know, I remember like just never being happy like
Yeah.
with how I looked, and always thinking that I needed to reduce my body fat. Like, and I have loads of photos on my phone of me, you know, in front of the mirror, like even like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, I hired a coach to help me, you know, with my training and to lose body fat. And like I was really, really lean at the time.
Yeah.
Looking back at photos now, like full on like six pack.
Yeah.
Like at that, and I look at it now and I'm like, Jesus, like I was absolutely shredded.
Yeah.
But then, at the time, I didn't think I was
Yeah.
lean at all. Do you know? So like a lot of body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
there. And also I remember at the time like lying to my coach I was working with, like telling him how much I was eating.
Yeah.
And he just kept reducing my calories. So I would say I've had many periods of very unhealthy relationships with food.
Yeah.
And I still like there's still some of that there, but I'm much more, you know, in tune with things now.
Yeah.
You know, I can now like happily go out for a meal and, you know, like not have to think once about like, you know, calories or
Yeah.
energy or even what's in the food, just there to enjoy
Yeah.
it. And,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, my relationship with food is much improved. But even I would say what I experienced is probably not far off an eating disorder. Like it is a spectrum,
Yeah.
you know, and many people I think with like disordered eating, you know, potentially have eating disorders,
Yeah.
and don't know about it. So that's kind of how my relationship with food has changed over
Yeah.
the last few years.
Well, like that's, it's really interesting that you say that you remember like the things that people said to you, like that, like you don't remember much of your childhood, but you remember
Yeah.
things that people said to you. I remember like that's just brought up. I remember I was probably like 10, and I think my granny at the time like was got me a pedometer for a Christmas present, and I was gonna like, oh, cool, thanks. What are you trying to say?
We're laughing like, but that like this stuff we have to be so. I don't have kids, right?
Yeah.
But like kids pick up on things from such a young
Yeah.
age. Like I think from like the age of 1, they can start picking up on like you know, food language, and like if you're using language like good and bad, or talking about previous diets you've been on, or what diet you're currently doing, and your weight, and how you're not happy with your weight. Like kids are gonna pick up on this stuff and
Yeah.
carry it through them. But for example, even getting listen, your granny obviously meant.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah.
Everyone means well.
Yeah.
Hopefully, most people mean well, but it can be very, very damaging.
Yeah. Even like, remember We Fit?
Yeah.
Remember We Fit? And I remember remember it used to give you like your BMI.
Yeah.
Remember We Fit used to give you a
'Cause I have a
BMI?
story about We Fit too. And you remember that?
Yeah, I remember like, oh, you're obese. And I was like, oh, great. I'm gonna spend half an hour pretending to run through the park here on We Fit. Like,
That's what I did.
yeah.
Because when I was told to lose weight for hockey, like that was my approach.
We Fit.
We Fit.
In the living room.
And I'd be running, like going for like why the fuck?
Not
why,
even, it's just the arms.
why
Like,
couldn't I just go outside? Like I was soft kid, but like still, it is quite traumatic. Like
yeah. And like, this isn't this isn't like woke kind of nonsense. This is actual like facts that like have affected people. Like this, like
yeah,
like and that's like a fact with what you say about like kids, how they pick up on like small things like food language, like stuff like things like that you don't think of at the time, but like we're talking about it now, how like small things like that obviously kind of have imprinted themselves on us, and obviously had an effect, like a negative effect, but yeah.
And these things do get passed down through generations.
Yeah.
And like one of the only solutions is, you know, seeking help, getting support, working on yourself, so that you then don't pass it down on.
Yeah, and I think it's awareness at the end of the day. Like that's like, this was 20 years ago. like 20 plus years ago, where like I suppose not a lot of awareness was there, and I suppose how much things have changed now and how much awareness there is out there and how many people are I suppose a bit more outspoken about it. Is like it's the conversation. It's the it is the awareness that will kind of be the thing that like that changes people's kind of the stigma around it, but also people's perception of it. I think that's like the one thing. It's like I said at the start. It's just talking about it. Like don't like have it be this kind of taboo subject where like we can't talk about that, but like we don't want to bring it. How do I say this? Like it's like sometimes I wish people would just like address the elephant in the room, and we're just like, okay, like, what's up? But it's so tough, like in the moment, to be able to kind of like interject, I suppose, as an outsider, like person looking in.
Suppose like this the support is there for people. So like, what would you say now if you could go back, talk to 13-year-old Andrew? What would you say to him? Have you ever thought about this before?
Not really. Like people ask me this like quite a lot ago. If you could go back and say this, like,
or okay, imagine it's, I don't know.
I suppose like it is. I suppose listen to the people around you, and I suppose lean on that support that's around you, because they have a lot better kind of like they can see what's going on. They have a bit more kind of perspective on it than you do. Like I've very internalized, obviously very set in my ways of what I was doing, but like I think a lot of people have a better perspective from the outside looking in, kind of. Obviously they don't know what's going on internally to an extent, but I think I suppose, like don't be afraid to use that support, and like I suppose not see it as burdening someone, because that's what I thought I would do if I was seeking help. I'd bringing other people into it and making my problems their problems. But at the end of the day, people just want to help you. People just want to see the best in you, want to see the best version of you. So,
I give him a big hug.
Yeah.
And I tell him everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And, I'm here to support you. You know? Like, it's kind of what David Jones did with you. Like, he just embraced it, gave you the thing, and showed that he was there to support you.
Yeah.
And, like, you... and obviously he knew, like, right, this is Andrew's obsessed, passionate about rugby.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to use that as a bit of a
springboard, kind of like to.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just that's all I did. 13-year-old Andrew. Give him a big hug, and I give myself. That's what I have a photo of me as a child up there.
Yeah.
Remind me that things, you're doing okay, little guy.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of. I don't really want this to go above an hour, above for longer than an hour. There's loads of other stuff I want to get into, but I think that's enough for the moment.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
I suppose I've got loads of questions in recent times about from parents about their kids who are going through similar things, and I suppose they're in that kind of that realm of I'm trying to help, I don't know what the best way to approach it is. And to be honest, I don't have like the exact answer of because obviously everyone's different, everyone's going through their own kind of their own journey, their own path, and their own problems. But I suppose it's don't be afraid to have that conversation, and it is that kind of uncomfortable conversation, but it is that kind of that thing that needs to be addressed sooner rather than kind of I hope it'll get better. I'll just kind of I know it's very tough from the outside, because you're always just hoping things will get better, but it is having that kind of like fuse breaker, and that kind of like being able to kind of okay, what's like, how can we help you best? And it's basically just kind of like, it's basically just having that conversation, kind of getting that kind of deeper understanding of what's going on, and like and point them in the right direction. Because like, yeah, so many people. It was after the book came out, and it was just like, oh, like either people who have gone through it similar themselves, and they were kind of like, oh, I would have never realized a rugby player would have gone through that. I never realized, oh, like, I didn't know other men were going through this, because like you said, it's very like, typically the stigma around it is that it affects females more, but like it's like, I think it just hasn't been delved into deep enough, or like it hasn't been spoken about enough on the male side.
And you're helping massively with that.
Yeah, hopefully.
You are.
Yeah, so that'd be the main thing. Is just, I suppose, have that conversation. Like it is that uncomfortable conversation, but it is incredibly beneficial. Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you very much for being so open and honest. I do think your story will help lots and lots of people. Okay. If I feel like that was a real professional ending.
Yeah.
If again, if someone's looking for support, we'll put lots of different resources in the show notes. But going to Bodywise, just literally Google search Bodywise, and there's lots of resources and help you can seek there. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in for episode 2.